Hey guys, it's the 1st of July. I'm going to start off with a Cooper update. Aircon is just reality now because it's cold, so I'll try and get it out, but if it's in the background, that's just how things are. Cooper's been so good with Miles. He has had no aggression at all. The only issue that we have with him is that, like with everyone, he steps all over and walks all over anything and everything. And I thought this was going to be an issue because even for us adult humans, it can be no licking on the couch. It can be quite, hey, no licking on the couch. Can be quite painful. Exhibit A today, where he decided that he could get up into our bed without being asked, and then he stepped on my boob, and that hurt. I'm just really working on training him not to do that and I wondered whether he would realize that Miles is small and vulnerable and not to do that, but he went to place his paw on Miles's belly, which is obviously not okay at all. So I'm really working on him asking permission before he steps on or across us, or before he comes up on a surface. He's allowed on the couch, obviously, and in our bed, but he really needs to ask. So that's what I'm working on. And he's a very smart dog, so I have no worries that he's going to learn that. We've just got to spend the time and be consistent about it. But like any dog, you don't trust them with a baby anyways. But so far he's showing good signs. He's just a lot more sookier than usual, which is contributing to him jumping up on things when he shouldn't, when he doesn't ask, because he's just so desperate for a cuddle. A lot of the time, if I'm sitting up here breastfeeding Miles and Daniel's on the couch, he'll jump straight up, snuggle in to Daniel, because he just is obviously feeling like he's missing the love. And I don't think it's in like a negative Miles is getting attention and I'm not kind of way. He's just always been like a FOMO-y kind of, we call it FOMO-y dog, where if Daniel and I are having a cuddle ourselves, he'll come up and want to sit right in the middle of us. So that's just the way he is. So we're just making sure that we're giving him lots of love still. Hey guys, sorry that I haven't really been here much at all. I want to do more vlogging, but I'm scared to wake the baby, which is silly because I talk on the phone while he's napping during the day. I just feel like, I think a couple of times I've been filming and by coincidence he's woken up, so I just gotta do it. But today he had a bit of a not so fun but then fun bathing experience. He wasn't due for a bath this morning. We bathed him in the evening, but his little hands were very stinky because babies suck on them, and well, Miles does, he sucks on them. Diet is mainly milk, and they keep them closed so they get all sweaty. So I was washing his hands today, which he was not enjoying at all, having to open up his fist. But then I went to change his nappy and he'd done like a poo explosion all up one of his legs. So Daniel was having a shower and I chucked him in the shower, which he actually did enjoy. So that, funny little antics there for the first time with our little Miles. I have just gone to pick up some more rapid antigen tests because Daniel has a cold. He's at the tail end of it now, but we're supposed to be seeing some people over the weekend and it's Friday today. Therefore, we just want to test him to make sure that he doesn't actually have COVID and are not going to pass it on to everybody else. But that'd just be nice to have him home for most of the week with us, even though he's been sick. So he hasn't been too bad, just not nice enough to go to work. And my mum is coming today. She doesn't care that he's got COVID or he's sick. She's had COVID recently, so she reckons she'll be right for another month because she's protected from that naturally, from having it regularly. And hopefully we'll get the house tidied up because we're supposed to be having visitors this weekend. So I will talk to you guys in another update. This may be the end of the July vlog, but I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye. Hey guys, it's probably pretty loud. Turn that down. Reminds me of Dirty Dancing, the movie. It's the last day of July, so I thought I would do another quick update, maybe a few in the car before, and maybe some more of the Savo. I'm not really sure. I want to do some more B-roll stuff. I think that'd be really fun as well. I am just going to pick up the groceries this morning, which is a very fun job since having Miles. I was very bad at doing online orders before Miles, but I have a schedule now. It's also, I have time to do them because I'm not working full time anymore, so part of me staying home is obviously looking after Miles, and we're very lucky to have a baby that likes to sleep in his bassinet, or he's adjusted well to his bassinet, so I do have time to do housework, which is so nice. And I've left him with Daniel this morning because it's a Sunday and he is more than capable of looking after him after I've fed him. We're not doing any bottle feeding at the moment, so I can't go that far from him, not that I want to at the moment, but it's nice because now that we have a bit of a routine down pat, I feel comfortable leaving him with Daniel for like lots of hours. Probably about I haven't left him for 2 hours. I've only left him for about 1 at the moment, but I do want to work up to getting a facial. There's a facial for 45 minutes at my local salon that's about $65, I think, and that sounds really nice, so that's my goal. Angus, Coop.
We'll just steal the baby. Wouldn't be very good at feeding on that.
Do you guys like my pretty bookshelves? I told you I liked reading. I've just recently reorganized them. Hey guys, it is the 1st of August today, but I'm just going to sit and do a quick update of kind of like a July wrap up, I suppose. My hair's not brushed today, but I actually am not minding it that much. First thing I want to talk about is the fact that I don't have any birth trauma that I'm aware of. I feel pretty confident in saying that I don't. It's interesting actually because we got some newborn photos done. When we got the newborn photos done, the photographer, who obviously takes a lot of pictures of newborns, and we absolutely love her, she took our wedding pictures as well and our maternity pictures. We have quite a bit of a relationship with her, which is really nice. She was actually talking to my mother-in-law about how out of the hospital there are so many babies that are born with hematomas, which is lumps on their head. because of the use of forceps. That got us talking a bit about that between my in-laws and me and Daniel, because I did have a forceps birth and Miles was as well born with a hematoma on his head, and apparently the doctor who delivered or helped deliver him isn't at the hospital anymore because of this. I don't know whether like that's completely true or whether that's sort of small town gossip, but it really made me think back on it, and I don't feel traumatized, even though all the things happened that I didn't want to happen, that I was terrified of, because we took the time to ask questions and halt things until we'd had enough information to go through with it. I feel fine, because at the end of the day with Miles, if you don't know, I'm not going to rehash the birth story again, so if you're not sure, I will leave a link down below to the birth story. You can go back and check it out there. There was 6 indicators that they looked at to see whether he was looking healthy or not, and 1 out of 6 said that he wasn't healthy and 5 said that he was. So I ran the numbers on that, and it was something like 84% chance that he was absolutely fine, 16% chance that he wasn't. And for me, even looking back on this, knowing now that he was born at an absolutely normal birth weight, a 16% chance is still so high that something was wrong. Therefore, I don't regret having an induction, which then ended up leading to an episiotomy and a forceps birth. I don't regret it at all. And I think the key to that, again, was asking questions, knowing the risks of what I was agreeing to, what was most likely going to happen. I didn't want to get an induction because I knew that it was going to be more painful, and that I was more likely going to want an epidural, which I didn't want, and I didn't end up needing because my labour was very quick in the scheme of things. It was only about 4 to 5 hours long, as opposed to other women's who is like can be so much longer than that. I'm sure you've all heard the horror stories. I don't know whether that's attributed to me bouncing on a ball and doing lots of curb walking beforehand when I was trying to get natural labour started, or bouncing on a ball during the majority of my labour. We also took a walk to the shower and back, and then at that point that was when I really needed to push. So a combination, I guess, of all those things, that I was still able to be mobile, made it so that my labour was quick, and then I didn't need an epidural, because by the time that I needed to push before the pain got too much. What happened with Miles is that his heart rate dropped, which can be fairly common with inductions because the labour is not natural and the babies might not handle it as well. I did need to get him out quickly, and he wasn't coming out as quick, he wasn't nearly out, so that's when they did the episiotomy and the forceps. The one thing that I wasn't aware of, which hopefully speaking about this can help someone as well, is tailbone pain, particularly after forceps. I didn't know that tailbone pain was very common after birth. I don't know why it's not talked about as much. I guess that really shows that we still have a long way to go in regards to educating women about what can happen with births, because I looked at all the cascades of intervention, I knew about pelvic floor issues, and I knew about loss of intimate pleasure because depending on, you know, what's happened and tears and things like that. I knew all of these things. I knew about the bloody husband stitch that sometimes happen, but I didn't know that tailbone pain is quite prevalent with birth, and especially with forceps assisted. So that's probably the one thing that I wasn't aware of, and that was the most debilitating for me, which sucks. So letting you guys know that's something. And it's not that, like, it was very painful, but it's something that if I sat the right way, if I kept off my tailbone and I was careful about how I got up and things, if I was careful about how I got up, then it was fine. It was more the mental strength that I needed to be aware of that this is something that I could potentially suffer, because it is a long road to recovery with tailbone pain. And I am 10 weeks tomorrow, 10 weeks postpartum. Miles is 10 weeks tomorrow. And I am only just now feeling like it's nearly healed, and then still sitting on hard surfaces for a long time is painful, or even a short time. I sat on the coffee table when my parents were over, and it then hurt to get back up again. I feel pretty lucky, but that's just something that I would like to just personally from myself bring awareness to as someone who feels pretty aware. Now, just to also quickly talk about the time after, I think hopefully in June stuff, I've talked about what it was like in the first month. This is the second month now. How are we going? Second month of having a baby. It's going really well, actually. We are so lucky, and I try not to say so lucky. Miles has adjusted really well to his bassinet, so he sleeps in it, so we get sleep, which is so good, so good. Sleep was the thing that I was the most terrified about, and I feel like if Miles was a baby who didn't feel safe sleeping in his bassinet, things probably would have been a lot worse, to be honest, because sleep deprivation is really hard, and for whatever reason, who knows, just make up of people, Miles feels safe enough to sleep in his bassinet, and it's so good. I have had some moments of doubt, some pretty strong doubt over this month. Miles went through a developmental leap recently, and I didn't, even though I'm trying to be aware of the leaps and I have the Wonder Weeks app that tells you when all the leaps occur, it's not something that's always on my brain. Maybe it'll be more prevalent now, but I think Miles was crying a lot more in his bassinet, and even though we're not sleep training him, I was trying to let him cry for a couple minutes and then go see him and reassure him. And I don't know, babies aren't supposed to be able to self-soothe until about 4 months. He's already self-soothing, not all the time, probably about 60% of the time he self-soothes and he's fine. I don't know, but it was getting a lot harder to listen to him cry, and I'm thinking that maybe he was crying a bit more, and so I was going and seeing him as much as he needed to and I needed to, which led to me then think that something was wrong, because we had this baby who was sleeping well and then all of a sudden he wasn't. And then I started looking up all these different theories about sleep and crying and what to do and whether I'm psychologically damaging him. But generally, no matter what you do, as long as you give them a lot of love, especially in toddler and growing up, you'll be fine. That was really hard. That was a really hard time, just over a span of a couple of days, a weekend. I was doubting myself, and so I tried all these different methods that Miles didn't like, even if they did resonate with me, but Miles wasn't into them, and to be honest, neither was I. One of them was the aware parenting method, which I still really believe in, but it is a really hard thing to do because it involves a lot of your child crying it out in your arms, so not soothing them, because the theory is that they've got trauma that they need to cry about to then be healed, including birth trauma, which, if you believe this theory, Miles probably has a bit of it because he did get yanked out by his poor little head, and then his head was really sore for days, and they kept trying to force him onto my boob to breastfeed, and that was really hard. That has probably been the hardest, I would say, parenting thing with him so far. And it wasn't even about him, but it was the midwives trying to get him to feed and just feeling like we were forcing his poor little head onto me, and he was just crying and crying, and he's like, it was just horrible. I struggled not to cry. And if I did it again, knowing what I do know now about the fact that he wasn't severely losing weight, we had expressed enough colostrum, I was totally capable to express some more, I would have just said, no, we're not doing this. Let's syringe feed him for a little bit and wait until his bump feels better, because that was the whole thing, is that he had this massive lump on his head that was so sore, and they're like, get on the boob. Like, it just, of course he didn't want to feed, and I don't like thinking about it, because I just, this poor little baby, there's no harm in giving him a syringe for now. It's fine. We do breastfeed now because he just needed a few days for it to go down a bit. He had some Panadol. We also gave him a bath as well, and probably his neck was a bit stiff from getting yanked out. So, and all of that combined together, he fed. And now he's a champion breastfeeder. We have no issues at all. Believing this theory, I wouldn't doubt that potentially he does have trauma from all of that. But sitting there and having him cry without trying to soothe him or rock him or anything like that is really hard, especially when he's a baby. I really want to do the aware parenting when he speaks English and can understand us, because then we can talk about what's wrong. It's really hard now not knowing why he's crying if it's an emotional reason. So we've gone back to, it's actually the Love to Dream Sleep series that I learnt this stuff off, so I'll leave a link down below. But basically when he, like, it helps to separate night from day for him, which has worked really well. It is the idea that you put them down drowsy but awake, which we do during the day. So we have a bit of we follow the sleep, feed, play cycle. So he wakes up from his nap. His nap's about 2 hours. Sometimes it's not that long, particularly if he's having a leap. Get him up from that. He has a feed. Unfortunately, doing this, I don't super know what his hunger cry sounds like. I don't. But as long as I'm feeding him, then, you know, I'll worry about that later. Get him up, give him a big feed. At the moment, it's generally about 15 minutes long. It can be longer, but it depends on how much wind he's got, because he doesn't want to feed or how distracted he is. And then we play. So we have some tummy time at the moment, we have some talking, he's smiling, he's making little noises every now and then. So that's really fun, working his neck strength and everything like that. And then he'll give us a yawn after about an hour because of his age at the moment. Sometimes it's 40 minutes, sometimes it's an hour and 5, but generally it's about that 40 to 50 minute mark at the moment. And I then take him up from play, put him in his swaddle, put him into bed. Sometimes he'll cry for a little bit. I leave him cry for about 5 minutes. I've left him cry for 7 minutes. And then I go in and soothe him, and I've chosen the Love to Dream sleep series gives you some ideas on how you can soothe them. Apparently consistency is key. So I put a hand on his chest and I stroke his forehead and I just reassure him. I leave the room. Quite often he's still crying, or he calms down, and as soon as I go to leave he starts crying. I still walk away, give him a couple minutes, and he normally goes back to sleep. So it works for us, and I feel confident with it now that we've come out of this second leap and I've reinstated this routine again. And we've been waking up at 7 in the morning. That's when I've been waking him. There is a whole period about night as well, but I just feed him to sleep overnight. I just feed him and then put him into bed straight away. It's just naturally how it happens, and it's very stress-free for all of us because he's not crying in the middle of the night and we get to sleep, but he still learns to go to sleep during the day. So, you know, that's how we're doing it. And I have been getting him up at 7, so now he generally consistently wakes up at 7, which is really nice. And he's been greeting me with big smiles at 7 in the morning in his bassinet. Gives me a big smile and is happy to see me. So I don't feel like I'm psychologically damaging him at all, and that's a really nice feeling. But I'm going to go now because this was supposed to be a quick update and it's been 16 minutes, but maybe that'll then make my vlog ending up being enough time. I hope the B-roll has been good. I've been trying to work on that, and thank you everybody so much for continuing to watch my channel. I will talk to you guys in the next vlog or another video because I may be divulging into that, but we'll see. Bye!